China has issued a new sanctions list targeting U.S. arms companies, including 8 prominent U.S. arms companies and 10 of their executives. These individuals will no longer be able to obtain Chinese visas, including entry to Hong Kong and Macau, and their assets in China have been frozen. They are prohibited from engaging in any transactions or collaborations with companies or individuals in China. David Sutton, Director of Asia Pacific at Lockheed Martin, is on the sanctions list for the U.S. Air Force. Lockheed Martin's F-35 fighter jets are expected to be their primary stealth aircraft of the future. Over 1,000 have already been ordered, and eventually more than 3,000 will be supplied to the U.S. and its allies. The F-35 was intended to be the next showcase product following the F-22 to rival China's J-2 stealth fighter jets. However, internal reviews revealed that even the F-35's ability to fly was actually built on the covert use of Chinese-made parts. The Department of Defense investigation is underway after some materials used in making the F-35 fighter aircraft were found to have come from China. The probe centers around a possible violation of Defense Department rules meant to keep foreign-made components out of U.S. weapon systems. The Chinese material is an alloy used in the jet's turbo machine pumps in a statement. The DoD says there is no immediate risk, and flight operations for the F-35 in-service fleet will continue as normal. In July, a shortage of spare engines risked more grounding for taking longer than planned to repair a key part for the U.S. most costly warplane. In July, the Air Force grounding its F-35A fleet due to ejection seat issues. Later this year, the F-35C, the newest fighter jet in the Navy fleet, crashed on an aircraft carrier and fell to the depths after this secret was revealed. The Pentagon insists that the F-35 is safe and will continue flying, but has temporarily stopped accepting deliveries of new aircraft from Lockheed Martin. In October 2022, the investigation concluded and deliveries resumed, stating that the new batches of jets no longer contain Chinese-made parts. William Lant, the Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition and Sustainment, signed a national security waiver, meaning the Defense Department would not replace the parts in those aircraft. According to Air and Space Forces magazine, there have been 7 additional incidents involving the F-35 in the U.S. since October 2020, with the failure rate tripling. The most recent F-35 crash occurred on May 28, 2024, at Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico. The pilot survived the crash thanks to the ejection seat, manufactured by British company Martin Baker Aircraft Company Limited. Chinese strategist and retired Air Force Senior Colonel Professor Wang Zhangshui highlighted that this incident shows how in a globalized world both national security and supply chain security are interconnected. As long as the Pentagon doesn't replace the ejection seats with American-made ones, U.S. pilots should still be able to survive in addition to sanctions China imposes on U.S. arms companies. China has been developing new technologies that could potentially neutralize the stealth capabilities of U.S. aircraft, such as the F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning II. One of these advancements is China's Bei-W satellite navigation system, which has been adapted to detect stealth fighters by analyzing how BRU signals interact with the aircraft. The F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning II are designed to avoid radar detection by minimizing their radar cross-section, making them nearly invisible to conventional radar systems. However, when BRU signals encounter a stealth aircraft like the F-22, the signal is disrupted and scattered, producing a unique echo in the radio frequency spectrum. Chinese scientists claim to have deciphered this echo using advanced algorithms, allowing them to determine the aircraft's position by analyzing specific radio signal disturbances. This approach has already been tested in simulations and could potentially work against both the F-22 and the F-35. This method builds on earlier experiments with detecting small drones, such as the DJI Phantom 4 Pro drone. By analyzing how radio signals from SpaceX's Starlink satellites were scattered by the drone despite its size and low radar profile, this raises the possibility of using similar techniques to track stealth aircraft with a similarly low radar cross-section. The cost-effectiveness and flexibility of this technology make it more accessible to countries that currently lack the infrastructure to defend against stealth aircraft. By using BRU signals or those from other satellite constellations like GPS, Galileo or GLONASS, China provides a more affordable alternative that could be deployed in smaller nations that lack advanced radar systems. This could drastically change the dynamics of stealth warfare, making U.S. stealth aircraft more vulnerable in regions where they have traditionally operated with impunity. Chinese scientists have faced challenges in refining an algorithm originally developed in the 1990s by Goran Zanovic, a Yugoslav computer scientist whose work on detecting hidden cyclic frequencies in electromagnetic signals went largely unnoticed in the West but has been widely respected and applied in China. The implications of this development extend beyond just stealth detection, as China is working on various methods to track stealth aircraft, including long-wave signals that bounce off ionosphere radiation emitted by commercial satellites and electromagnetic signals generated by U.S. military bases. In response to these advancements, the U.S. has begun shifting its strategy in the Asia-Pacific region, with over 10,000 U.S. troops relocated from Japan to bases in Guam and Hawaii farther from China's reach. There has also been a growing interest in the use of artificial intelligence in combating stealth aircraft. The use of drones over traditional manned aircraft could potentially provide a more cost-effective and less vulnerable alternative to stealth jets in conflicts with technologically sophisticated adversaries. China's progress in stealth detection underscores the broader competition between the US and China in the realm of military technology. The F-22 and F-35 represent the pinnacle of American aerospace engineering, while China's innovations in anti-stealth technology could narrow the gap if successful. These developments may force the U.S. to rethink how it employs stealth technology and could reshape the future of air combat in the Pacific region. China has imposed sanctions on 3 additional U.S. military-linked firms, freezing any property these companies hold within China. China announced detailed countermeasures against U.S. military companies effective September 18, 2012, targeting a total of 9 U.S. companies including Sierra Nevada Corporation, Stick Rudder Enterprises LLC, Cub Corporation S3, Aridison Defense T-Com Limited Partnership, Techstore Planate Management Group, Act 1 Federal, and Exova. ASML, the company's biggest market, has been hit by U.S. export restrictions on China, leading to a massive loss of $85 billion in value almost overnight. The Philadelphia SE Semiconductor Index is now higher 410 to 1%, and its European trading shares are still under pressure down 5%. ASML is now stuck between the US and China, facing huge challenges as countries rush to control chip supplies for their own tech futures. Christoph Fucht, ASML's CEO, attributed the weak results to several factors including delays in factory construction, weakening demand in China, customer cautiousness, and push-outs of investments. The slow recovery in demand has led to customer cautiousness and some push-outs in their investments, even as the artificial intelligence boom, energy transition, and electrification continue to provide a strong upside. ASML's reduced outlook for 20,125 has provided a glimpse into how U.S. chip export curbs will impact its sales in China, which has been the company's biggest market for the last 5 quarters. In the third quarter, China accounted for €2.8 billion of ASML sales, nearly half of its total revenue. However, the company expects China sales to account for only about 20% of its total revenue next year, down from nearly 50% in the recent past. CFO Roger Dayon described this as a normal percentage for that market. The drop in expected China sales is largely due to increasing pressure from the US and its allies on China as they seek to limit the country's access to cutting-edge chip technology. In September, the Netherlands published new export control rules that require ASML to apply for export licenses in The Hague. ASML, a leading semiconductor manufacturer, has been sourcing as much as 49% of its sales from China to maintain access to its advanced deep ultraviolet lithography machines. This move follows reports that the Dutch government would limit some of ASML's ability to repair and maintain its semiconductor equipment in China. China-based customers have been stockpiling the company's less advanced deep ultraviolet lithography machines to get ahead of U.S. export restrictions and maintain access to this critical technology. Bank of America analysts highlighted that ASML faces a sharp decline in China revenues, accounting for around 20% of its revenue in 2025. This implies a 48% year-over-year decline, more severe than the 3% they had anticipated. Abhishek Prosh, founder of Toronto-based advisory firm Geopolitical Business, told CNBC via email that demand from China for ASML machines is likely to drop significantly as the firm is severely restricted by export controls. ASML's dominance in the EUV market is due to a long history of innovation and strategic partnerships. The company was spun out of Dutch electronics giant Philips in 1984 and went public in 1995. By the early 2000s, ASML had caught up with the world's leading chipmakers and began developing EUV technology, which uses extremely short wavelengths of light to etch tiny patterns onto silicon wafers. ASML's crucial role on the chip stage has brought it wild success over the past few years, making it even more valuable today than Intel, one of the biggest chipmakers IT supplies. Peter Wenning, CEO since 2013, joined ASML back in 1999, just 15 years after its humble beginnings. The company started as a subsidiary of Dutch electronics giant Philips in 1984 and conducted research out of a leaky shed next to a Philips office building in Eindhoven, Netherlands. In its first year, the company successfully launched a first-of-its-kind machine that used precise rays of light to print tiny designs on silicon to make microchips, a technology known as lithography. In 2019, TSMC became the first company to use ASML EUV machines in high-volume production, giving its customers like Apple a significant edge in the market. In 2019, Taiwanese chipmaker was the first to deliver high-volume chips made with EUV, keeping ASML at the head of the pack ever since its chip technology is at least one node ahead of Samsung and Intel. Samsung is investing heavily to catch up with ASML, with plans to purchase ASML's next-generation high-NA EUV machines, which promise to push the boundaries of chip manufacturing even further. However, these machines come with a hefty price tag of over $300 million each, making them unaffordable for most companies. ASML, a leading technology company, has achieved significant success in the global tech ecosystem due to its technological leadership and partnerships with German optics company Zeiss. The company's importance in the global tech ecosystem cannot be overstated, as it faces significant risks due to its heavy reliance on a small number of customers, particularly TSMC and Samsung, which leaves it vulnerable to shifts in demand and geopolitical tensions. The ongoing trade war between the US and China has highlighted the strategic importance of the semiconductor industry and led to increased scrutiny of ASML's business. The Dutch company will slow its short-term investment plans to match the market, and some orders scheduled for 2025 have been pushed back to 2026. Geopolitical tensions surrounding the chip industry are having a tangible impact on ASML's business, and the company is caught in the middle of this tug-of-war between the US and China. ASML is also facing pressure from some of its key customers, such as Intel, which has been struggling with declining sales and mounting losses. Intel recently delayed the construction of new factories in Germany and Poland, while memory chip makers such as Samsung and SK are also being careful with their spending. All of these spending cuts are affecting demand for ASML chip-making machines. The timing of this news couldn't be more critical as the world is in the midst of a global push for semiconductor independence, with various countries launching their own CHIPS Acts to boost domestic production. The US has proposed $52 billion in subsidies for chip companies to manufacture on American soil, while similar initiatives are underway in Europe, Korea, Japan, and China. Intel just announced a $1 billion chip factory in Ohio and is building one in Arizona, just down the road from a massive new factory where TSMC will make advanced chips in the US for the first time. Samsung is building a $7 billion chip factory in Texas. Despite these headwinds, ASML's long-term prospects remain strong, as the company operates on a different cycle than its customers, with machines often ordered years in advance of when they are needed. The short-term impact of US chip export curbs on ASML China sales is significant, but the company's long-term growth prospects remain intact. The semiconductor industry is facing a complex balance between maintaining technological leadership, navigating international regulations, and finding new growth markets. ASML, the largest customer of Foundry, is looking to smaller nodes for their machines, which has led to a surge in Chinese semiconductor firm stocks. The European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen emphasized that the EU would approach China differently than the US, as they want competition and fair trade together. ASML faces a complex balancing act between maintaining technological leadership, navigating international regulations, and finding new growth markets. The pace of technology innovation is unstoppable, and this is not just about quarterly earnings or stock prices, it's about the future of global technology. The ongoing semiconductor race and the delicate balance between innovation, politics, and business in our interconnected world are crucial for the future of global technology. China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, MIIT, recently announced a significant breakthrough in semiconductor technology with the development of two deep ultraviolet DUV lithography machines, including one capable of producing chips at 8 nanometers. The announcement sparked a surge in Chinese semiconductor firm stocks, such as Shanghai Jiangjiang High-Tech Park Development and Shanghai Highly Group. However, experts remain skeptical about the significance of this claimed breakthrough. The newly announced lithography machines are still 15 years behind the most advanced lithography machines used globally. The more advanced of the two machines mentioned by MIIT has a resolution of 65 nanometer or better, while SML's most advanced lithography machines currently achieve resolutions of 8 nanometers and less. Additionally, these machines fall far short of ASML's cutting-edge extreme ultraviolet EUV machines, which use light with a wavelength of just 13.5 nanometers, almost 14 times sharper than DV's 195 nanometers. ASML has a monopoly on the fabrication of EUV lithography machines, the most advanced type of lithography equipment needed to make every single advanced processor chip used today. The complexity of ASML's technology is staggering, with each machine containing over 100,000 parts and assembled in ultra-clean rooms 10,000 times cleaner than outside air shipping. Export restrictions have limited China's access to ASML's most advanced technology. On January 1, 2024, the Dutch government stopped granting licenses for the shipment of ASML's most advanced DUV immersion lithography systems to China. This is significant because China is the third largest market, accounting for 15% of ASML sales in 2021 and 49% of ASML sales in the first half of 2023.